we also the first result. And the most used search engine Baidu, we also the first result. So I'm very proud of this result. And this is our trend of courses. I said that we have used the Sakai in spring 2011. And you see we can have increasement each year. And there's very interesting things here that every 4 semester we have a lot of increasements. And in the spring semesters, we just keep the number of the last semesters. So I have tried to see why this happens and find that in the spring semesters it's a graduate semester. So we have less courses actually take in the classroom. So the people don't want to use it or just don't need to use it. And when the 4th semester comes, a lot of new people come into our universities. And the younger men very liked the method AML math teaching. So also the new instructors prefer this way. As we all know, the old people in universities just refuse to change. Yes, refuse to change. So the more younger teacher and students join us, we have more users. And we just have no award or punishment to the teachers. So they just use our Sakai volunteer at their own will. And it's a percentage trend. And we have now about 25% courses use Sakai of undergraduate students. And in all, about maybe 22%. Here's the detailed data. This semester, we have about 22% courses use Sakai in all. And to undergraduate students, we have about 26%. So I think it will continue to grow. And I have checked a lot of persons in this conference. They encourage me that when they use Sakai at the first several years, they just have the same trends, and I think we have a long way to go. Okay, I'll talk about contributions. Till now, we have contributed over 100 issues to the community, most are patch included. And I have very interesting questions. Do you know who posed the most Jira issues since 2015? The answer is me. So I'm also proud of this one. Although those issues I posted is most translation or internationalization related issues, but I think that it's very proud to show these pictures to you. And I have a brief history of Sakai in China. Before 2010, there are several universities in China tried Sakai, but they didn't do very well. The first one may be Central China Normal Universities, and they maybe tried Sakai about 2007 or 2008 before us. And they even hold the first Sakai Day in China at 2008. And later, we haven't got any further news. So I once asked the teacher, I asked the person of the Central China Normal Universities, how do you use Sakai? They said to us, we use it as a research. They are normal universities. They have a subject called maybe education technology. So they survey Sakai for their purpose of research, and they don't put it in really use. And another university of Chinese Academy of Science, they also adopt Sakai before 2010. I went to their school. They have a lot of perfect things. They integrated their local system to Sakai very, very well. But the worst thing is that they integrated very, very well. Why? They have modified a lot of code of it. So they adopt Sakai about maybe 2.6, and they keep 2.6, 2.6, 2.6, and just 2.6. And if they want to upgrade, always a lot of hard work to modify. So I also will introduce later how we solve this problem. And then the BT University of Post and Telecommunication. They use it until now, but they stick at maybe 2.7. Also have the same pressures. They modify it a lot. And in 2010, Fudan University has adopted Sakai. Maybe I believe that's a revolution. We have our own Sakai Fudan branch at June 2012. And the reason why I need it, I will talk it later. And this branch gives a lot of Chinese universities to use Sakai better. And about 2 years ago, 4 Chinese universities were joined together to apply a project to try how to deploy an open source LMS in China and how to cooperate with each other. But it's for universities, Fudan universities, Dalian Maritime universities, Chongqing University, and Southwest universities. And since 2000, now we have a Sakai China conference at 2013. About 30 schools attend. This flag just shows where they are from, maybe all over the east side of China. And just 3 weeks later, we have our 2014 Sakai China conference. And I don't know how many universities will just register. I will see it when I'm back to China. Now this is the adopters of Sakai in China, the map. I have counted about 20 universities. And in these 20 universities, about 10 are actually used. And about maybe 6 or maybe another 10 is just for testing. They were testing for this semester and they were put in production next semester. And also a lot of other universities were interested in it and try if they can get some help from us. So I think the adopters will grow year by year in China. This is our branch, Sakai Fudan branch. We have a website. Unfortunately, they are in Chinese. And a big bucket for example, that's and we have a demo. You can visit this demo, and we have some modification for users. If you enter this demo, they will detect the language setting of your browser. If you use English, you can try to choose your commonly English views, and if you use other language, for example Japanese, you can see Japanese common. Yeah.
So what's the purpose of the demo? Why are you providing a demo?
Providing a demo can show what we did. We'll have modified some things, and you can see from the demo. And we have what we did is add features and enhancements that can provide it. And some of this I have already committed patch to the community, but they have not accepted yet. But we want to see what happened. And just before I went to the Spanish community, I think they have did very well, but they just commit their patches to the official repository. And every other universities just check. I just talk about you. Yeah. So the Spanish community just commits the patch to the trunk, and the other universities just update from trunk and go on. So they must wait until the community accepts it, and then we will see the effect to the other universities. But in our situation, maybe the universities want to see the update more recently, more soon. So we have used our own branch to let them know how we can see it now. And we use DRC distributed revision control system. I will talk in detail later. And this helps us a lot to maintain the code by ourselves and keep up with the community code. So how it works, I will explain it. So if we have 2.8 official release, and then we have our own release just from it, and we add some features in it. Maybe translation, maybe patches, maybe other things. And at that time, the official release comes to 2.9. Wow, that's a lot of difference between these things. And what should we do? We just merge it in our own branch, in Fudan branch. What's the benefit? In Fudan, our e-learning just 2.8 from the Fudan branch 2.8. That means the instance of Sakai in our university is just another branch of Fudan branch. And we will add some our own code, for example, the integration code, and other things, maybe our logo or maybe our layout. In this. And we recommended our friends to put these things, the university-specific things, in a separate folder to help us to, when we want to merge it, we will be much easier. And then they just merge from the new branch code, and we will have nice things. And then, if other universities, for example, our partner, Chongqing universities, they just check out a kind of branch of the Fudan branch, and they add their own code of integration and other things, their logo or something like that, to their branch, and then just merge. Okay. According to this, the universities will just focus on what they really need in our own universities. And what we should, maybe we share the same goal, we will have the same features. These same features will focus on these branches. So universities can separate their common needs and their own needs. I think this is a very good way to cooperate it. And then at this conference, I heard that the community will change the subversion to Git. I think it's a very good choice. Git is just like Merkle, the same idea, just different software. So here's some announcements. The most I can want to say is the internationalization support of the role name and site type. We all know that in Sakai we have site types such as course, project, portfolio, and something else. But these words cannot be changed. If you want to change, you go to the realms and change the realms name. So if you have universities such like us, we have Chinese universities, foreign universities, Chinese students, foreign students, and we want them to all see the site type in their own language. Currently, the Sakai community edition cannot do this. And we have just internationalization of this, and we can see some localization name of it. And role name, site name, for example, access, maintain, instructor, teaching assistant, and this is. And we also face some problems only occurs in China or only occurs in Chinese environment, or generally in East Asian. First, I want to start short survey. Yeah. Who have been to China? Okay. So, Kaita-san, I want to ask you a question. How do you like China?
I love Chinese food and history, people.
Do you have problem in China?
Language.
Okay, never mind. Next. Who use Chinese, Japanese, or Korean, CJK, as their native languages? Oh, a lot. And who have learned it? And then, do you have CJK instructors or students in your institution? And then, do you concern about their user experiences? Now I'll show you some basic code problem in China. We have a golden shell project. The government do it. Golden shell project. What's the result? No access to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and something more. Maybe Blogspot, SciShare, and a lot of things. We cannot access it directly. Also, we can access via proxy or VPN, but a lot of work to do. And so, also limited access to Google and Yahoo. That limited access means maybe you can visit now, but you don't know if you can visit later. And we know that Profile 2 tools have a Twitter integration, and it's maybe enabled by default. And in China, this will cause a long latency of this page. So we just disable it. And this is very easy to solve the problem. And something worse. Sakai was slowed down by a Jeep crash. Last year, 3 terrorists drove a Jeep and just towards a people crowd, and many people died, many people hurt, and crashed in the Tiananmen Square, the center of Beijing. And about 1 day or 2 days later, an instructor of our university told me that he cannot open the lesson tool. He cannot open the lesson tool. And then the student of his classes just say, yeah, oh, professor, I just can open the lesson tool very perfectly, just like the same. So I wondered why, and I checked code. The lesson tool have when the instructor tried to open the page, they tried to fetch some pictures from Yahoo image. And the Yahoo image was blocked by this flash. And then, why Yahoo image? Oh, I found that we use YUI libraries. And then they fetch some Y image. And why YUI library? That's RSF6. And why RSF6? Oh, that's why the lesson tool built up. So just a cheap crash can just slow down our Sakai. It's a very specific situation in China. So to fix this, I just moved the pictures from Yahoo image to our locally. So solved this problem. And I think you never met this problem yet. Oh, another problem, very seriously. I6 problems. This statistics just the last month. This shows how much the IE6 usage around the world. We can see that most countries around the world just have less 5% of IE6. And in US, they are less of 1%. And what about China? We have 22% of IE6 users. We all know it's a nightmare, right? And we almost know that Sakai 2.8 can run very well under IE6, but 2.9, if you open the page with IE6, oh, it's a shit. Really?
IE6 has a lot of problems with just CSS.
Yes. So, but in our universities, there are a lot of public IT classrooms. They installed Windows XP and IE6 and have lessons in it. So I can't just forbid the IE6 as success. So I have some solution. First, I just add our load balancer at the Apache HTTP server. I read the user engine from browser, and if it is IE6, and I add cookies to it, names, oh, fuck, IE6. And just, just redirect it to send a long Tomcat which just showed 2.8 interface. And then after that, I think this is not a good solution, especially use the dirty word, right? So and I put this detection in the Sakai code and just detect if you use IE6, I will turn you to a legacy portal. And you use modern browser, you get the modern portal. This solves the problem. And then the problem of East Asian problems. You know that Chinese, Japanese, Korean, if we encode it in UTF-8, we will use one character for 6 words, for 3 words. You know, here, what's this? This should be Chinese, should be. And these possible problems. Sakai use single digit format to pass string to date, and we have a lot of 12 hours format in our system, and they use AM and PM to determine the afternoon or morning. Yeah. And generally, they just get a string of the date and put to the Java code to translate it. But yet, if you set the locale to Chinese, let's use this one to determine the AM and PM. So the data format cannot translate it and have error. So this solution is very simple. That just force the single digit format to use US locale. That's just for fun. And then PDF program. Oh, what's this? Sharp. What means sharp? That's my name. It should be my name. Also, it's a long story that the PDF formatter ensure that there are 14 fonts were embedded in PDF. And if you use other fonts, that you like to include the Chinese character, Japanese character, you must define which fonts you need, and they will put this font information to your PDF files, and then you can show it properly. Yes. And then XLS, also the same problems. We should define the encoding of it and show the right. And then the zip file problem. Zip file problem is very I have some interesting with you here. So, at present, which encoding is used for file name in zip file? We know that the content of file was compressed by zip, but the file name was just write it in zip file. And so that's I have a problem. Which encoding is used? The answer is that depends. If you use Windows, that also depends. If you use simply Chinese version, it uses GBK. Maybe in Japan they use Shift JIT. Yeah. And in English version they use ISO 88591. And then if you use Linux, they use UTF-8. So there is no standard of zip file format to force you which encoding is used for the file name. Also, there is a maybe update of the zip file format to show that you can write something about the encoding in the meta field, but unfortunately, Windows doesn't support it. Windows just ignore it. The native zip tools in Windows just ignore it. It's a very hard way to do if we have a lot of file names with Chinese characters, how to solve this problem. Yeah, we have a solution. Also, just try to detect the user agent. If the user agent uses Windows and simplify Chinese, we try to give a GBK version. If they use other things, we try to give other things. So it's a very hard work. And I think if you just use English names, if you use English file names, they just encode it just the same whenever you use GBK, ISO, and Ultimate. And then foreign student problem, I just mentioned we have a lot of foreign students even don't know how to speak Chinese, how to know Chinese words. This is our first homepage of our e-learning system. And if a foreign student see this one, and if he has never used Sakai before, he will ask questions. I'm sorry, ask questions. Where to log in? Where to log in? If never used Sakai, or where to log in, I don't know. So another patch we have now is just detect the user agent to get a language, and if the user hasn't logged in, this will show what the user agent shows. So I just believe that if the user agent use a browser in Chinese, he will surely know Chinese. And if she says English, surely he shouldn't know English. Another thing, user habits, also different. There's maybe a cultural difference between East world and West world. Let me see, the first one, name. So my name is Gao Jun. Gao is my last name, Jun is my first name. So that means last name is called first, and first name called last. Yes. This is happening in China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, maybe just these countries. Yeah. So in general, we just use full name. So if someone calls me, how to call your name? It's Gao Jun. No Gao, no Jun. That's very weird. That's very weird for us. And in our universities, you know, we have a lot of foreign students, and the longer name, the longest name is maybe a German. He have 7 parts in his name, 7 parts, and I don't know which is his first name, which is his last name, and which is the rest of them. So how should I do? So we just use one field to keep name, just the full name. So never mind, 7 parts is okay, just put it. So we have a special properties in our branch to say we just use one field. And then number one, name ordering. In Sakai, a lot of name ordering is used. If you use English name, it will order alphabetically. And if we use Chinese, unfortunately, we use UTF-8, and this is not ordered by pronunciation. Maybe it's ordered by how you write it, but I'm not sure. But it's very useful for our users. Our users want to order it by their student numbers, maybe the EID of Sakai. So we just have another modification. We can set an attribute in properties file to force it's just ordered by the name or just ordered by the EID. Another parameter, AM and PM. In spite of the AM, PM and the Chinese character of AM, PM, we have a lot of difficult things. In US, 12 AM means midnight, am I right?
Yeah.
12 PM means noon. But in China, most of Chinese people say 12 AM means noon. 12 PM means midnight. So Neil can ask questions. Do you familiar with 24 hours or you just use 12 hours? So,
Well, 24 hours.
24 hours.
Yeah. I mean, it's used in Europe a lot, so whenever I go there to Europe, I always have to convert to that.
Europe use what? 12 or
24.
24 is very good.
We tell them to close the time at 11:55.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, a lot of problem comes that just the instructor says, oh, I set to the 12 p.m. That means that evening, and the student cannot submit it this afternoon. Yeah. So I think this is the problem. Maybe I will try to fix it and just turn all the 12 hours system to 24 hours systems. Okay, and that's web dev and the FTP. In our universities, students, teachers are familiar with FTP client and use it very well. And the web dev tools in Sakai just not that good to configure. We also have a lot of problems, and I don't know how to fix it. And the best way, I just try to tell him that you should use CyberDuck. Maybe CyberDuck has a better solution. But CyberDuck, they have not Chinese interface. So in my work, I have a FTP tool for Sakai. It's just can functionally work, but still a lot of things to do. You can try it, you can check code from here, and you can try it from the demo. The demo have already deployed FTP server. So you just registered in the demo and have username and password, and then just log in as an FTP client, use the same username and password. You will see the resources. Some dilemmas. We are very hard to maintain a qualified team. We all know that Sakai needs a lot of skills to do it very well. Yet, if we have crew a new guys and tell him, oh, you should in charge of Sakai, and we'll teach him a lot of things, and at least after 1 year, he can actually do something real. But at that time, maybe he will just quit. He can find a much more better job for the IT company, just not in the universities. And in China, we live in the universities. How is our income? We just often say that we will not be hungry, but we will never be enough. And low budget. In China, there's a very strange situation. The leader of the universities prefer to put courses to MOOCs. And they think, wow, I have 2 courses on MOOCs. And that means that our university is a top universities. And if I have no courses on MOOCs, does that mean our university is not a top universities? So they just put a lot of budget to MOOCs, maybe hundreds of thousands of budget for each course, but they will say, why not put this budget to Sakai? That will improve Sakai a lot. That's just enough for our annual fee for the community, am I right? Yeah. So, why? Because they say, although we have a very good awareness, how do I talk to others? We are top universities because we have a good awareness. And then different people have different concerns. How to say, in our universities, the teaching, Peter, how to say 教务部 Students affairs?
Registration somewhere.
The department in charge of the students, how to teach, how to process, etc. They just try to make everything goes like the older way, and they are familiar with it. They won't want to change. One day when I have trained our teachers, and one teacher asked me, could I put my final exam on the Sakai? I said, sure, of course. But yet, the instructor from our Department of Teaching, they say, oh, you shouldn't. Why? We must archive the final test paper. So, final test paper. So you could not put it just use Sakai, because they have no paper. So I think the technology problem is easy to solve, but the management problem is hard to solve. Oh, that's the end of my presentation. So, any comments? We have still time.
It's eye-opening to hear the difference in what your needs are compared to U.S. needs and how Core Sakai is designed. So it's very educational.
I mean, if you had asked me before, like, oh, what's the support for Chinese students in Sky, I would have said, oh, I think it's pretty good. But then after watching that presentation, I really did realize that there's some like really great things that we can do better. I mean, you guys have the Fudan branch, and that's a model that's working for you. But my concern coming from our company is we want to get more of that back into the things.
Oh, okay, that's a better.
Long-term goal, you don't need the Fudan branch anymore. Like, you could just take the community,
Yeah.
everything you need is in there. That's long-term goal.
Yeah, that's a good question. Most of the enhancement and patches I put in Fudan branch, I also committed to the community. But yet, maybe they have a long way to go. At first, I commit about maybe 2 years ago. I committed translation of a tool, and in the mail list of also the draft, they asked each other, "Hey, who knows Chinese? Who knows Chinese?" And finally, they find Tianzhen from Michigan. He knows Chinese. She knows Chinese. Yeah. Oh, after a long time, the patch was put in the trunk. And that's a long way. So I just want the users to see the changes recently. So I also hope the merge work can be as much as possible as less in the future. So I commit a patch to the community. And I think if we use Git instead of submission later, that will be much easier. We can just pull request.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, well, so the way it works now is ideally you want to have anybody's patch be independently verified by somebody else. And so the language translations is really difficult because you have to, in your case, you're the one guy who's like working on this. So, I don't know, maybe it's more about just identifying those people who can verify that kind of stuff. Because that doesn't need to necessarily be a technical person if we're just verifying the translation.
Yes.
So
It happened the same with the Spanish translation.
Yeah,
So I'm from Michigan, verified that it was actually Spanish.
Okay. I just mentioned we have a China conference 3 weeks later, and I will try to call some persons to integrate together to translate. In Sakai 10, the help files was just go to 0 except English. So we have a lot more to do with it. I think I can call some person, because some universities will tell me they're willing to do it.
Got a question. So in the U.S., most instructors actually use Sakai to upload the resources and post announcements. That's top 2 uses. So what is the uses of Chinese
Ah.
instructors?
The first, resources. At least they want to give their slides to students. So the first use is resources, and the second is also announcement. Why use announcement? Because they can send emails to you directly with my announcement, and then maybe syllabus and alignment.
So these are there any like particular local uses, very specific to the course?
I think not a lot of specific.
You mentioned they don't use test quizzes.
They use few teachers use it, but these teachers make us a lot of trouble. For example, we have a quiz last month, and the teacher, the lesson was maybe English listening and video, something like that. And the teachers have about 200 persons in all different class, but they put it in the same site. And then they have a quiz, and this quiz just almost like crash our server. Why? Because he upload the video file and the audio file to Sakai. And you know, if we have 200 persons to view the video together, oh, that's a problem. So after that, I just suggested you should put this video audio file outside of Sakai. So later, that's fine, works fine. So,
Sorry, we're right there, but how many universities are using that branch?
You're using my branch, yeah. Let me see, maybe about 7 or 8, and the new adopter in the future maybe all use it. And even some in China, you know, they also have some commercial company to support Sakai, but they didn't do very well, I think. And then they just deploy our branch, or maybe migrate to our branch in the future, they have told me. So I think our branch is more popular in China.
Do they know that it's Sakai?
Yeah, they know Sakai, and they know our branch. And at least we have much more translation in our branch. They can see all Chinese in their page. And although I just commit all the Chinese translation of 2.9 to the community, but they just merged it to 10 and not merged it to 2.9.
Well, I mean, if there's something like that that's significant, you know, the community practices merge it into trunk, right?
Yes.
So then it would go into whatever the next version is. But if it needs to be backported into a branch, I mean, there is some flexibility in terms of what qualifies to get backported into a branch. So it's just a question of like, enough people say, no, this needs to be in this branch.
A comment writer Gerard says that Chinese translation for Sakai 2.9, and then at the level 2.9 merge, 10 merge, and then finally they just merge to 10. Very unfortunate, yeah.
Which tool are you using for managing the translations?
Which, you know, that's a very simple problem. Oh, sorry, a very easy way is that because most of translation is done by me, did by me. So it's a very easy way to do it. And I don't like crowding because crowding just omits the comments of the original file. So I want to keep the original comments in the new file, and I will see what the pocket really means. So I just write a small script, and if I translate it, it will compare with the original, and I translate it and audit just like the original file, and put the comment in it. Okay. So thank you, everybody.